I doubled the value of the Copenhagen card, and here's how you can do it too. So I paid a total of 144 euros. Taking into account all of the attractions, public transport tickets that I've used, I've achieved a total value of 278 euros and 63 cents, which is almost double the value of the card. In this video, I'm going to include all my personal tips on how to maximize the value of the Copenhagen card. So initially, before my trip to Copenhagen, I was looking at the prices for the attractions, for the museums and the palaces. They're so expensive. I mean, Copenhagen is not exactly a very cheap city. I was also considering how I was going to commute from places to places. It is fairly walkable. If you stay in the city center area, you technically don't need any public transport tickets, but I wanted to see all I could in this 5-day trip, so I needed public transport tickets. While I was doing my research on Copenhagen, I found out there's this official Copenhagen card by the city of Copenhagen. Initially, it looked really expensive. 96 hours for 144 euros. That's pretty steep, right? I didn't know how much value I was going to get out of the card, so I decided to do some research. I should probably have a disclaimer. This video is not sponsored by the Copenhagen card in any way or the city of Copenhagen. So there's two kinds of the Copenhagen card, and I decided to opt for the Discover card. I realized that I will be using more public transport. There are more attractions included under the Copenhagen Discover card. On the other side, the Hop card would allow you to do the hop on hop off bus tour. I'm not really a big fan of this kind of bus tour, so I decided to choose the Discover card. In terms of the number of days, I have 4 full days, so I decided to have the card for 96 hours. It cost 144 euros or 1,069 Danish crowns, including all the public transport in Copenhagen and outer Copenhagen as well, actually, and then more than 80 attractions in and out of Copenhagen. If you're interested in my comprehensive 5-day itinerary with price included in Copenhagen, there's another video here where I talk about my complete itinerary, and there will be a PDF at the end of the video. I managed to squeeze in 11 attractions in this 96 hours. They are the roof access of Church of Our Saviour, the Glyptoteket, the Christiansborg Slot, the Stroma Canal Tour, the Frederiksborg Castle and the Frederiksborg Ferry, the Louisiana Museum of Modern Art, Palmhuset at the Botanical Garden, the Amalienborg Museum / Palace, the home of Carlsberg, the Cisternerne, and then the Medical Museum of Copenhagen. In terms of the public transport, I've taken the public transport from the airport to the city. I've also made 13 trips within the city. It also included my ticket to Frederiksborg, and then from Frederiksborg to Louisiana, and then from Louisiana back to Copenhagen. I'll include the prices and everything, but if you do the calculation yourself, even if you don't pack these 96 hours full of activities and full of attractions, you can still get a fairly good value out of this card. I have 5 personal tips in terms of how to use this Copenhagen card to maximize the value. Tip number 1. Make sure that you're only activating your card when you need it. For example, I needed it for the public transport from the airport to the city center. That means I waited until the train is in front of me and I stepped in, and then I activated my card. Therefore, my card would be valid for 96 hours, meaning 13 o'clock 22 or 1:22 p.m. 4 days later. Tip number 2. Use your card to the very last minute. So from the list of the attractions that I've just shown you, my very last attraction was the Medical Museum of Copenhagen. I made sure that I arrived before 1:22 p.m. I think I scanned my card at 1 p.m. or something. Once you have scanned your card, you're free to wander around the museum for the rest of the day until museum closing time, really. Choose a great museum, scan it just before your card expires, and spend the rest of your day there. Tip number 3. Maximize the use of the public transport. So, because I'm super cheapskate and Copenhagen card includes all the public transport in Copenhagen, I made sure everywhere that I needed to go, I'm optimizing it with buses or metros or the ferries. That way I save time commuting between attractions, and I also get the maximum value out of the card. And tip number 4, I highly suggest having 1 to 2 days in Copenhagen without the card, so you can explore the cities and surround, absorb the good vibe, the hygge lifestyle. So you're not constantly in a rush to museums and things like that. Tip number 5, plan extensively for the 96 hours that you have the card. or whatever period that you have decided for your card. If I could do this and double the value of the card, you could do the same too. That's all for today. If you're interested in watching more travel videos about other travel destinations, please subscribe, as I'll be talking about many other travel destinations that I've been to for the past 4 or 5 years. Thank you so much and see you later. Ciao!